Welcome to 15-Minute Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. In this episode, you'll get to know me, your host, Coach Kinsley, and producer Mike from Greyhawk Media Productions. I'm a certified trainer and nutritionist, and Mike is one of my former clients and now my sidekick. And here's our story, and this is our podcast.
It's 15-Minute Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. I'm Mike Hinata of Greyhawk Media Productions, senior editor, an occasional sidekick, and a former personal training client of Coach Kinsley's, who pushed through each set until I heard
3, 2, 1, let's go! Remember to always consult your physician before starting any nutrition or fitness regimen.
So, Coach, tell me a little bit about your own fitness journey and how you got interested in fitness to start. Was it something when you were young? Was it something when you were older? For example, for me, I was much older when I really got serious about fitness. Tell us about your fitness journey.
Yes, it started when I was a youngin'. I was doing every single sport that my mom would drive me to.
What was your favorite? Did you play in high school?
Yes, so soccer was definitely my favorite sport. I was good at it, and I loved that it was a team that you had to work out. You had to be so aware of where the different players were, and there was a goal. I'm very goal oriented. But I also played volleyball. I was a setter, and I played basketball. Funny story. I'm 4'11", right? I'm petite, but I made varsity basketball.
You had them handles, huh?
Oh yeah, I did. No, not at all. I swear the coach just put me in when we needed a foul.
A bruiser? Clearly a bruiser.
I was on the court. I was on the ground, and suddenly someone else was taking shots, and I was back on the bench. And that's how every single game went for me.
An integral part of the team you were. So you loved playing high school sports. Now, I played a little bit in high school, and then when I went to college, I played intramurals because I was not by any means a college athlete. Did you continue on your way to college?
I didn't continue in college. I was just so focused on school. And same thing in high school, too. I was very focused on school because I wanted to kind of get it over with. Sports was the only fun part, but I graduated high school early, then I graduated college early, and I loaded up those credits in college, as many as I can take every semester. So I was not playing sports, but I was resistance training in college as well as high school.
So what did you study in college?
In college, I was studying chemistry.
Chemistry. Wow, that's a lot of reading, a lot of math, a lot of everything. Interested you about chemistry, and what did you plan on doing with it?
So chemistry just made a lot of sense to me. Like you mentioned, it's a lot of math. I've always been good at math, but it's real world. So I was able to really get hands-on. I love doing labs, experiments, and lab reports too were fun for me.
Lab reports were fun is the quote I think I heard. Actually, my degree was in English, so I did a lot of reading and writing too. So yes, writing can be fun. Were you planning on being a chemist, or what were you going to do with that?
I was planning on going into pharmacy. I started first by becoming a pharmacist technician at the same time while being in school because I wanted to make sure that was an environment that I would want to be in. I did a little internship at a local spot. I worked a little bit in a hospital, and I found out pretty quickly that that was not the path for me.
How did you find out? What did you do? What happened?
Man, it took just one moment, dispensing pills, drugs that I didn't think was necessary in this case. And besides that one moment, once you really get an intimate and detailed understanding of drugs and Western medicines, you really realize how many side effects there are that are short term and long term. And a lot of times you'll have one drug prescribed for an issue and then have to get a second or maybe even third prescribed for the symptoms. And yes, there are certain diseases where this is the best option. But after research and spending time, really learning, I realized that there are many situations and cases and diseases that can be helped by more natural means, your activity level and greatly your nutrition. That is huge. I knew there had to be another way, and I was going to figure out.
All right. So, coach, how did you go about doing that? Did you research into being a personal trainer? Did you have a personal trainer? How did you go about figuring this out?
So I had a personal trainer as early as high school, and that was so beneficial for me. That's where I really learned about mind body connection, the quality of your reps rather than just moving a weight from point A to point B, you know. And then I started doing research later on after the pharmacy technician experience. And that's when I started really looking into becoming a personal trainer, learning about anatomy. And I was also working at a big box gym. I was just front desk when I was researching. Very boring. But, you got to start somewhere.
That's right, coach. You do have to start somewhere. So, is that when you started studying to be or get certified as a personal trainer and taking on clients?
Yes, I studied at that gym, and then once I got my certification, I moved up into the fitness trainer position, and that was so beneficial. Like I mentioned, it was a big box gym. So I saw people from so many different backgrounds, so many different ailments and abilities. I learned how to be a good trainer for people from teenagers all the way to my oldest client being in her mid 80s. In one instance, I had a client who didn't even have fingers. So that really challenged me to find modifications. And it was also inspiring, to see someone, no matter what their situation is, come to the gym and have those intentions to really work on themselves. And I was so there for that.
So, coach, you mentioned that nutrition was a big part of your learning process. Is that when you started your nutrition journey as well, when you were working at the big box?
It wasn't at that gym. That gym was specifically designed for newcomers, and they believed that nutrition would be a little too much to take on. So it's when I moved to a different franchise, it was locally owned and operated, where I started looking into nutrition. Of course, I already had been playing with my own nutrition, but that's where I started researching and became an actual certified nutrition coach.
So, then how do you apply your nutrition knowledge to your personal training clients? Is there a way that you synthesize that so that there's a benefit to it?
It's It's together. I think that's the best way to think of it because you can't outwork a bad diet. You really need both. You need fitness and nutrition. I prefer to do them both together, but some people aren't ready to have both going on. So, little reminders, little affirmations, just a little bit of casual conversation, keeping the knowledge coming around them when they're not exactly ready to take on a whole nutrition change.
That's a great point, coach. I know that that was something that I had to work on when you started training me those years ago. You probably had to deal with some personalities who did not want to deal with nutrition. I certainly took me a while to get the two to pair up, really focus that there's a benefit having both on a fitness journey. Well, how do you deal with someone who's like, you know what, I'm still going to eat hot fudge sundaes every other day and work out? But you're going to also have people who are like, yeah, that I'm going to eat half a wheat thin, for a week. Then you'll see gains then. So how do you deal with people who are all up and down the spectrum?
Kindly, you know, with patience. But because I've worked with so many different people, I get a pretty good read on them with if they're ready. If someone is ready, even if they're just ready to start working out, constant little affirmations and little reminders will make a big difference.
So yeah, that's really where I think I got a lot of benefit from regular training, from being consistent, from just worrying about showing up for the workout to understanding that having nutrition as part of my workout is going to help me make that mind body connection. Hashtag mind body connection in my journey, because I have lost a significant amount of weight and I've done it slowly through exercise. Hashtag thanks, coach. And through the nutrition was really the end piece to that. But once I saw results, and understanding how nutrition impacted that. I'm still learning. And that's the thing is I'm still learning, even though coach isn't my personal trainer anymore. My new trainer, is also nutrition and exercise focused, and he kind of keeps me on that path, and I see results. For me, it's been a good journey. And even though I'm in my 50s, not afraid to say it, I'm in probably better shape than I have been in years because I made it that concentrated effort. And a lot of that was coach's advice, the little reminders along the way that it's a flywheel that you're turning again and again. It's a gear that even though if you spin it 10 times, the bigger gear doesn't move, but maybe one. So you got to have faith in it. And you have to have faith in your trainer, and you have to have faith in the advice they're giving. The little reminders along the way help keep you consistent. Hashtag mind body connection. That's really what benefits people the most, even those who aren't on a intense journey. Certainly the journey has stops and starts. The idea for this podcast, Coach, where you give a strong, informed fitness tip that people they can pack away and they take for their workouts for the week, no matter how many or how few they are. Uh, I think is a terrific idea. Tell me a little bit about what we can expect.
Well, I'm going to break down fitness and nutrition concepts, so the both places that we all need, right, to focus on, and just make them applicable. And then you can expect to hear from some of my clients too. We got Mike here permanently, my sidekick, and just make it applicable, right? That's the biggest thing. We don't want to make it seem unattainable because it really is. Everyone can be healthy. You can be healthier. Let's say that everyone can be healthier with some intention. Thank you so much for joining us today on 15-Minute Fitness Fix with Coach Kinsley. The fun doesn't need to stop here. Email me at coach@coachkinsley.com. You can check out my webpage, coachkinsley.com, and also find me on Instagram at, you guessed it, Coach Kinsley. You're a girl. See you next week.